Hello, everybody. Welcome to Amazing You podcast and YouTube channels, the channels where stories of resilience, triumph, and unwavering hope come to life. And in each episode, we dive into the inspiring journey of individuals who have faced the toughest challenges heads on and emerge victorious. Our aim is to be a beacon of inspiration, offering a guiding light to those navigating through difficult times. And whether you are dealing with health challenges, professional setbacks, or personal struggles, this is the channel dedicated to uplifting your spirit and showing you that even in the darkest moments, there is a path to hope and triumph. So join us as we share powerful stories that transcend adversity, reminding you that resilience is a force within us all. So be prepared to be inspired and to find the strength to navigate life challenges. And I would like to say a huge thank you to the audience, to those who have supported the channels for the past 4 years. Thank you, and please continue to watch, listen, share, and subscribe. And for anybody who is new today, I would like to welcome you and appreciate your help and hope you enjoy listening to these wonderful guests that we have on a weekly basis. So I am your host. My name is Dr. Rani Thanacoody. I am a Mars Venus life and relationship coach. I am also a clinical hypnotherapist using rapid transformational therapy method. I am a tarot reader, breathwork coach, past life regression practitioner, and life force compassion practitioner. And today, I have the immense pleasure to introduce you to a very special lady from the Netherlands. Her name is Gertrud de Witte. Gertrude is a business healer and energetic alignment mentor. Gertrude is also the founder of Soul Creations. In her mid-30s, Gertrude was climbing the corporate ladder in a high-pressure marketing role until burnout forced her to stop. And after 7 months on sick leave, she realized the relentless pursuit of targets and deadlines was no longer aligned with her truth. And in 2007, she left the corporate world behind, retrained as a coach and therapist, and founded her own practice. Today, Gertrude is on a mission to help soulpreneurs reconnect with their highest potential so that they can thrive not only in their business, but also in life and grow to the next level income and impact they truly are here for. So welcome to Amazing You, Gertrude.
Thank you, Rani. Thank you so much for having me today. It's an honor to be talking with you today, and yeah, I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you for taking your precious time to be with the audience. I know you are going on holidays and it is one of the last thing you wanted to do. And I am very grateful for that you decided to take the time to be on the podcast today. And I have known you for a few years. We were behind the screen. We couldn't see each other, but I really appreciate your work that you do. And the audience would be able to later connect with you at the end. So Gertrude, my first question to you, would you please share with us briefly about your story, about taking us back to your corporate days and until you decided to retrain as a therapist and coach?
Yeah, my pleasure. So, yeah, where shall I start? I was trained as a fashion designer and also as trained in international business. And so when I graduated, I started working in the fashion industry, and then I switched to marketing, which I was also trained in. And I had a highly demanding job. I loved it. That's for sure. And at some point, I noticed that I was sort of, like we say in Dutch, running against the wall. And I was sick all the time. I wasn't feeling well. I was not happy. And so I decided to quit my job in the fashion business. And then I started something in the marketing of healthcare products. And alongside that, I also knew that I had to do something about that, right? Because I knew it wasn't just the business, the organization. I knew it wasn't my role, but it was something in me, right? That was running up against those walls. So I took some courses, did some workshops on, in the personal development field. And yeah, and so eventually I enrolled in a therapy course, and not so much to become a therapist. I wasn't even busy with that at all, but just to get to know myself better and why I had these destructive patterns. So during the week, I was working with targets and budgets and things like that, and all that pressure. And then on the weekends, I was doing all these courses, right, on self-development. And it was like a train track not being, not going in the same directions anymore, right? So eventually, like you already said, I burned out that was in 2006. And that was a very dark night of the soul because by that time I had already done quite a bit of self-development work, inner work, and still I burned myself out. Like, so that was, that didn't feel right. And, and also what I also knew was that that corporate world was just not good for my soul anymore. And so after I'd been on sick leave for about 6, 7 months, I think, I decided to actually quit my corporate job. And so that was, sort of stepping into a black void, so to speak, because I mean, I sort of knew what I wanted to do, but I had no training, I had no experience. So what do you do, right? And at the time, I was a sole provider and I quit my well-paying corporate job, right? So I was left with nothing. So I decided to get myself retrained as a coach and a therapist, as you already said. And then I just went to the Chamber of Commerce. I registered myself, my business, and here I was. And I got some publicity in a local paper. I started sending out newsletters back in those days, and my first clients came, right? And that was amazing. So my business grew, my practice grew, but eventually I noticed that the patterns that I had ran into before, they they weren't gone. They kept coming back. And so I was like, okay, this is not good. And then, as most people do in this field, in this, in the self-development field, you dig deeper, right? So I started doing family constellation work, and I ended up in doing energy work. And so that's how I eventually became trained as an energy healer in several modalities. And that's when I actually noticed a big shift happening, right? There were a lot of patterns that I was able to heal, and that's when I felt I was really starting to blossom, right? And yeah, and then so in 2019, I decided to start a new business, which is my international healing business. And there were two reasons for that. And the first one was that I really missed working internationally. I had lived abroad for, quite a long time. I had studied abroad, worked abroad, and then when I was working in my practice, I kind of missed that. And also because I was trained in these energy healing modalities, I trained in English, and so, that's for me, it became like a one plus one is three is how we say it. And so I decided to start my international business in energy healing. So I have both still, but most of my time and energy now go into my energy healing business. So
Wow.
it
Okay.
in a nutshell.
Yes, I think there's a lot to unpack here and a lot of great things you've mentioned. You mentioned that uh, you've suffered from burnout, and this is a concept that is often very misunderstood.
Mhm.
So, for you, Gertrude, what did it feel like, and how did you know that something had to change what is burnout for you? What did you experience?
Yeah, well, burnout
Mm,
in general, and also how I experienced it, is often when you feel very fatigued. So this is beyond feeling tired, right? This is fatigue, chronic fatigue, basically. It's where your hormones are completely dysregulated, your nervous system is completely dysregulated, and this all causes. So it's actually, instead of what most people think that it's a mental thing, it's actually also a very physical thing. There's
mm,
lots of due to the continual stress, the major systems in our body become dysregulated, and that eventually leads to often a loss, not complete loss, but the feeling like you can't remember things well enough. You have a hard time making decisions. You have a hard time, keeping the overview of the things that you need to do at work, for example. And also more on an emotional level, you probably feel down. Some people even feel, depressed. Some people also have like anxiety attacks. Yeah, you probably people don't sleep well. That's what I had as well. A lot of headaches, muscle aches because you're so tense, right, all the time. Digestion is often an issue. So yeah, there's hundreds of symptoms, and it's very personal in how they show up for each, for each person. So, but yeah, it's always also on the physical level, the mental level, emotional level. And let's be honest, it's also a spiritual thing, right? Because
mm.
I wasn't doing what I should be doing. That was also a major part of it. So besides my own patterns in this case, it was for me, it was not being in the right job. It was my perfectionism, and it was also my high sensitivity.
Mm.
And what I really sort of turned into my specialty or specialism, maybe I should say, is that combination of perfectionism and high sensitivity, because that's a tough combination, right? Because on the one
Yes,
hand, a perfectionist pushes herself like, like crazy, right? We always have to
yes,
perform at 120%. So, but then on the other hand, the hypersensitive part of us actually asking us to slow down, right? Because it cannot handle all the stimuli, right? So it needs to slow down. So there you have that inner conflict, right? And that's what I also see in a lot of my clients, especially the soulpreneur clients I work with nowadays. You want to grow your business, but on the other hand, you also need that self-care. So, it can feel like a constant inner battle. Yeah. Yeah.
yes, yeah, and it's not an easy thing to do, to decide to walk away, to make that bold move, to walk away from the corporate world and to start your own business. And can you share with us how did people around you react when you
Oh, good one.
decided to walk away and to retrain in very deep as a therapist and coach?
Yeah, good question. Well, you can probably guess the answer, especially for my parents, and bless them. Parents always want the kids to be safe and to be
Mm,
comfortable and secure, right? So,
yes.
yeah, they were not so enthusiastic in the beginning because, I had a good job, right? And it paid
Mm,
well, and now I was, starting in a new field with very little experience, And as an entrepreneur, which is
Mhm.
also, not a very secure existence for most people.
Yeah.
So yeah, and of course I had some friends who really encouraged me, so that's good. So that's always very important when you're in this position. Make sure you have enough cheerleaders and don't just, listen to the dream stealers and the naysayers, because they'll always be there, right? And trust your own instinct, because this was so, when I look back at this period in my life, it was so special that I knew it was a huge leap, but I had such faith in that this would turn out right? That I had such a strong, it was actually more of a pull, and it felt like I had no other choice. This is what I had to do, right? And it was so amazing because once I, signed that document at the Chamber of Commerce, and I eventually had my website in the air, things started to happen, right? I talked to I met people who introduced me to other people who had, uh, let's call them gigs for me, right? Another person helped me get contracted by a bureau that we have in Holland that, contracts coaches. So that was a great start for me. And I was like, I knew this. I knew this was going to happen, right? I knew this was going to turn out right. And so, yeah, so that was amazing. And of course, I've had lots of ups and downs in my business, over the past 18 years. But yeah, but I also see, so many entrepreneurs starting and then having to stop again because they can't make it, right? So, and not to brag here, but that's reality, right? Yeah.
That is so true. That is so true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some people, thank you for sharing that. Because what you said is like when it's important to surround ourselves with the right people who will cheer us up, Though there are naysayers, but I think you need to have a group of people who believe in you. But first of all, you need to believe in yourself.
That's the most important. Yeah.
Absolutely. If you
Yeah.
don't believe in yourself, nobody will believe in you.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, and you were saying that starting your business is it's something new, and a lot of people I know are in between that, whether start their business or leave their job. Because I know some coaches, they left the job and then they told me it was hard. It was hard for them.
Yeah.
So I think you really had that belief in yourself, and yeah, I think everything was in divine timing, you made the right choice at the right time. And I think that sickness was a way to tell you that something need to change in your life.
Definitely.
You
Yeah.
can't keep
It
going
was,
on like that. Your
it was,
body
a-
always talk, the body always
yeah.
speak. The body
Yeah.
keeps the score. The body always knows what is best for us. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was so clear for me. And if
Mm.
I have just a small anecdote I want to tell you. That was actually my last days in corporate. I was still working, but I was actually already burned out. But I just kept going, right? That's another pattern that people who burn themselves out have. That's the perfectionist. But anyway, I was driving to work one day in my beautiful black company car. I was so proud of that car, and I was driving on the highway, and bam, I got caught in a what do you call it, a chain collision. So luckily I was okay. I had a few bruises and a few scratches, but my car was in ruins, and I was shaking for 3 days. And for me, this was the universe's wake up call for me to actually literally stop, what I was doing. And, that became so clear to me. I was like, okay, what other signs do I need? I need to stop. Yeah. So that's how when I called in sick and had my dark night of the soul, right? But I don't, yeah, of course, we'd rather not have to need these kinds of experiences in order to pursue our purpose. But yeah, for some people it is needed, I guess, and that was for me. So yeah, yeah,
Yes, I think it's completely normal that We wait until the last minute, because the greatest school I always say is Earth School. It will
Yeah.
always teach us our greatest lesson.
Yeah.
If we don't learn this time, it will teach us another time, another time. The pattern will keep repeating in our life until we understand that something needs to be fixed here. We need to look at something more deeply. So
Yes.
it's normal. We are human and we need to make mistakes to learn from that. And I think it's very important to reflect when we see patterns and not to keep ignoring those patterns.
Exactly. Until they stop you.
Yes.
Because eventually, it'll happen, right? If we keep
Mm.
ignoring it or keep suppressing or denying our patterns and our self-sabotage, it eventually it'll catch up with us. So yeah, yeah,
Yes, and the
and that's exactly what I help people with nowadays. To help them get insights in their self-sabotaging patterns and actually heal the deeper layers of them, because otherwise, it's really hard to become aligned with your purpose and whatever you want to bring into the world and the people you want to serve. And then, it's going to remain a struggle.
That is so true. That is so true.
Yeah.
And very much in line with that, you are drawn to energy work. That's what you've been doing. You've done healing modalities like ancestral healing, theta healing. So can you explain briefly to the audience, Gertrude, what energy healing involves and how it can help people to shift their own inner blocks?
Right, right. So there's very variations of energy healing. There's tons of modalities out there. There's if you're interested, there's lots to explore on the internet, I would say. What the important thing is that I help people with is that you can do a great deal with coaching. If that doesn't work, people usually go into therapy, right? And that's also in a sense, that's limited because most therapists work until or from birth onwards, right? Just experiencing this in this life. But what energy healing does, it actually goes much further, much deeper, right? We actually look at, for example, birth experiences. We look at womb imprints. We look at conception imprints. We look at ancestral heritage, all the baggage, so to speak, that we inherited from our ancestors and we carry in our system, in our DNA. And also even going deeper, looking at other souls' experiences and past life experiences, right? And that's where, we talk more about the karmic imprints. So what I do with energy healing is that I, of course, listen to my client and usually the things that they come to me with are very practical usually, right? For example, I want to reach this and this goal in my business, but I notice myself procrastinating. I'm afraid to become visible. I'm capping at my income is capping, right? So these kinds of practical things. And so together with my client, I dig into the patterns that they have and eventually try to get to the root causes of them. And because if we heal them on that level, all the rest, is gone, right? So instead of putting band-aids on the symptoms, we actually go in deep and heal the root causes on whatever level, it needs to be healed. So in a nutshell, that's what I do. And yeah, so that's this, for me, this has been so amazing, right? I told you how I was still struggling in, even when I switched careers, when I was still struggling, as an entrepreneur. Because my patterns didn't really go away, right? And until I actually started doing this energy healing on myself, that's when things finally started to shift and I created so much more freedom for myself and ease in the work that I do and therefore more joy and also therefore clients would feel more attracted to work with me. I would of course have a better income. I would make more impact, right? So it's a chain reaction, and that can go in a negative way, but it also works in a positive way, right? Yeah,
Yes, because everything is energy. And the
exactly.
more and the more we clear the stuff inside that have been suppressed, the more our light can shine.
Yeah,
It's like polishing that gemstone that has been covered with dust. But it comes through layers, those issues, Sometimes it's like a wave. Sometimes you have this to clear, you then you carry on, then you find another block, then you
yes,
clear something. Yes. So
exactly. Yeah,
it's so important to do that. It's so, so important
yeah,
to take the time to look within ourselves and to clear those layers, because the more we clear, the more happy, the more free we feel, the more joyful we can experience life in a
yes.
very, very, very different, very empowered way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, exactly. It makes life so much easier, right?
so much easier. Gertrude, I would love to talk to you for another hour. There's
Yeah, I
so much
know,
to
me too.
ask you.
Yeah.
But we are coming close towards the end, and I've got two questions to ask you. What would you say to someone who is feeling stuck in a high pressure job but is afraid to make the change?
Trust, trust your gut instinct, trust your calling, and don't let yourself get sidetracked by those who are projecting their fears onto you. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I think that's a great, great suggestion. Thank you so much for that. And my other question to you is, how can the listeners and the viewers find out more about your work and possibly connect with you?
Yeah, so they can find me on the socials. I'm on Facebook and on Instagram and also on LinkedIn. My main go-to is Facebook. That's where I'm the most active. So you can find me there. And also in my Facebook group, my private Facebook group, I offer bi-weekly free clearings. And each time, each episode, we have a different topic. So if you're interested, you're welcome to join my group. And also, I offer a free training for the soulpreneurs who are desiring to quantum leap into their next level of income and impact. It's called the Energetic Quantum Leap, and I'm happy to provide the link and so they can register for that.
That is fantastic. Thank you, Gertrude. That would be great if you can provide me that link, because then people can sign up and also follow your work, that the things that you offer, the sessions that you offer. That would be wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And any final thoughts or messages that you'd like to share with our audience?
Yeah, so the one thing that has helped me most in these past few years, whenever I would start doubting myself, or I would be scared to take a next step, I have one question that I ask myself, and that is this the highest truth about me? And it's been so helpful because it never is, right? Our highest truth is that we can do this, that it's safe for us to do that, etc., etc. And every limiting thought, our inner critic is always based on fear, right? And that's never the highest truth about us. Yeah,
Thank you so
that's
much.
that's been a game changer for me.
Yes, fear is uh, is one of the major, major block that we all experience. That's so
Yeah,
true.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Gertrude, thank you for all those wise words that you've shared with the audience. Thank you for sharing your story, for opening up to us today. And I would like to wish you a lot of success moving ahead and enjoy your holidays. Have a good rest and hope you can do a bit more of the reading that you would love to.
Yeah.
And I would like to say also thank you to the audience for watching, sharing, and subscribing. And we'll see you again with another guest. So remember, everybody, that you are amazing. You have always been amazing, and you always will be amazing.
Mm.
Thank you, everyone.